Hi Sixto, hope you're doing well. Figured it was about time that I finally send this video to you. So here is this big piece of wood here. There's the size of my hand. And comparison. Now we're going to use the wood splitter over there. All right. Now, as you can see here, after a few swings, it's cracking very nicely. To do this with an axe, well, I would not have been able to do that with an axe. Not a log this big and that quick. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Let's finish it off. There it goes. One piece there, and I can split that separately into another half. Now this piece is still pretty big. Much smaller. Still a big chunk. So let's split that. Yes, it will. There it goes. Now that can fit in my stove. This piece here also fit my stove nicely. This piece, still a little big. Gonna use the axe to split this one. Axe right here. One piece there. Still this, I'm gonna split a little more. Done. Good piece there. And another good piece there. So this works great for big, heavy sticks that I wouldn't be able to do with the regular axe otherwise. It's really heavy still. I think this was the medium one you mentioned, and it's still big. It's heavy, but that's what it takes to cut down those huge logs. So I don't think I have any other ones as big as that one that I just split here. All of these do need to be split, but they're actually going to be a lot easier. This one, especially with a knot there, that's going to need the big wood splitter. So a couple things I want to add. This handle, absolutely critical. This has been so useful. A lot of the weight, I would say even maybe most of the weight, is here and through that bar. And so when this thing slides down, it's completely weight disproportionate. And so this is critical to hold here and here while it's being transported, or even just aligning it with a log. The other thing I mentioned with this big log here, when it's got cracks like this, it's actually much easier to split. That big one that we just split, that had no cracks in it like that. So it would have been near impossible for me with my axe to be able to split that log without the splitter. However, even with a crack like that, when there's a knot here, you don't know how deep that knot goes. It could stop here at the crack, or it might even be further on. And you can get to the knot, but after that, it usually won't go further. So here is actually a really good example of a knot that really goes in pretty far here. This log still also needs to be split. It won't fit my stove. And as you can see, if we were just looking at it from that, you can't really see how far that knot goes. But then when you see it from this side, that knot actually ends about here. And so to try and go through a knot like that is actually extremely difficult. My axe normally won't be able to do it. You actually have to cut around the knot. And so I normally cut perpendicular to the grain. I find it's actually way easier to cut. That last big one that you just saw, originally I went perpendicular to the grain. And then for the second half that I used the splitter for, I went with the grain. And it took a lot longer and a lot more force to go with the grain, even though it was already cut. However, sometimes you have to go with the grain, parallel to the grain, in order to get the right size to fit in the stove. Otherwise, it would have been really long and really thin. So I think that's it. I actually have internet now. I'll be able to upload this. Take care.